So when you approach a project like this, how much information do you want to know about the character and the arc of the season? Do you go in wanting to know as much as possible, or are you content because the character doesn't know as much to wait and see as the scripts come in?
I learned, I think, on Breaking Bad. I used to be somebody who felt like it was really important to know, like, where do I start and then where do I end. But I learned with Breaking Bad that actually it's more like real life if you actually don't know necessarily what's coming around the corner. Sometimes it's good to know certain things because it informs certain things along the way, certain choices that you'll make or certain things that you'll show. But most of the time, it's actually, what I always want to know is sort of background detail, what my life was before I came to this point, and then, how the writers see, what's most essential for them to see in this human being. And so that's the information I look for, and then I try to just surrender to the story. And when it's good writing, it just sort of takes you along like you're on a good current.
Yeah. Was there any hesitancy in taking such another serious project like Gracepoint after Breaking Bad?
No, I mean, not for me. I always really look for the really good writing and good stories and a good character. And if it's, if it comes in comedic form, great. If it's a dramatic thing, great. It seems like I have veered towards drama more, but getting the chance to do like Mindy's show, and then the play I just did in New York had a lot of comedy in it, and it was just so nice to flex those muscles again, and especially on stage when it's that changing organism every night, and some nights you get a huge laugh and the next night you don't, and you think, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? But it's just a different it's a different animal every night, and that's what's great about live theater. And so that was really fun as well. So I feel like I've fit in my comedy in there between, but this was there was a little bit of this is going to be, a pretty harrowing storyline. But I also knew that Ellie was such a different character than Skylar, and she's got a very different energy and a very different thing that projects her forward. So I didn't think it was going to be sort of Skylar round two or anything.
Right. Well, Ellie's life is really disrupted by this case, because not only is it a huge case for this town, but also it's her son's best friend.
Yeah.
How is she handling all of the shifting dynamics that are in her life and trying to also take care of her family, who is also impacted by this tragedy?
I think that is one of the things that really made me want to play the role, because I think that so many women can relate to that in whatever profession they're in, or whether you're a mom who when they call it stay at home, I always feel like it's not really the way, it doesn't describe, it's like the hardest job in the world is being a parent. And then if you're a working parent as well, or if you're in charge of your kids all day long, no matter what, it's just it's difficult to find balance in your life. And I was intrigued with how she does manage to do that, and what and the sense that she's always trying to keep all these balls in the air, and she feels like she's letting people down, and she feels like she's not quite doing enough. And I think I share that sensibility in some ways. There's that feeling of, but I want to be here, and I want to give all my best to this, but I have this, and then I have this. And again, I think so many women and parents can understand that. And it's a struggle for everybody.
Her relationship with Carver that kind of goes between tense and morbidly humorous.
Yeah.
How does that evolve throughout season 1?
Well, I think it's great because, they start, he thinks that she's, jealous and bitter that he's taken her job, and she, I don't think, and what's interesting to me about Ellie is I don't think she's got a bitter bone in her body. She wasn't happy about it, but as soon as, the next thing, as soon as she had to move on, she moved on. I know she's not a grudge holder. And I loved the fact that we still started out sort of looking at each other like, I'm not so sure about you. And it was just their method of going about what they do. It was so polar opposite. And he's looking at her like, do you know what you're doing? And she's looking at him like, do you know how to be a human being? and they grow to, gradually respect each other. And they grow to sort of go, okay, all right, you're not so bad, and you're not so bad. But they're not really ever they can't even really say it out loud to each other. I really loved the relationship, and David and I had a lot of fun playing with it. And I love the sense of humor that goes on between them, because the banter and the sort of ribbing and the kind of, that was a lot of fun. And that's where I also felt like that's an artful thing to do in a story that's so serious and that so pulls at your heart so much. To inject some humor into it is both important but delicate, and I thought they handled it really well, the writers.